Shoes and Stars is the title of a small painting on paper depicting a manoletina against a purple night sky filled with stars. The manoletina is a type of delicate shoe traditionally worn by bullfighters, known for its comfort yet fragility, offering no protection to the feet. The shoe is named after the legendary matador Manolete, the first to wear them. In the background, one can imagine the haunting strains of peteneras, played by Rafael Marin at the beginning of the 20th century. This particular flamenco palo, peteneras, evolved from the tragic myth of Dolores, a beautiful woman whose life was cut short by men who couldn't tolerate her independence. The palo is notoriously difficult to play, and its sorrowful tone, steeped in superstition, even deters some musicians from performing it. I included this element in Shoes and Stars to introduce a new layer of meaning. The entire exhibition is centered around surreal contrasts, the mysterious and, most importantly, the vulnerability of human beings, as fragile as a manoletina, as vast as the stars in the universe, and as senseless as the killing of Dolores. Tristan and Isidre is a playful twist of words, meant to evoke the opposite of the tender medieval chivalric romance of Tristan and Isolde. This video shows the process of the making of After Mona Lisa, and I believe is totally self-explanatory, therefore there is no need of any further commentary. Muriel's portrait began over a painting on linen, which initially featured a black silhouette of a woman. Inside the silhouette, I had painted an Assyrian couple and a purró, a traditional Catalan glass vessel used to drink wine. Around the same time, I was also working on a portrait of Alexander the Great, as well as the painting of the burial of Hephaestion, his lover, which is also here on show in the exhibition. As I delved deeper into these themes, Roxana emerged as an image, inspiring a new series of works centered around her. Alexander and Roxana were married in 327 BC. While I completed several portraits of Roxana on paper, the larger canvas did not seem to progress. Gradually, it evolved into a portrait of Muriel, a dear friend who at the time was battling cancer and had undergone a mastectomy. The original composition of the silhouette, the couple and the purró seemed to demand a shift, and Roxana felt like the right figure to continue with. Psychoanalysis has been a valuable tool in my artistic process. My first encounter with therapy came through Ken Keefe, who recommended his own therapist, someone I saw for years. My imagery often emerges from the unconscious, deeply influenced by my daily life, of course, and the experiences of those I love or encounter. Though the unknown remains unknown, painting serves as an effective medium to explore it. I don't aim to draw specific conclusions from the narrative my images present, nor do I wish to analyze them. Far from it. I leave that task to the viewer. Once the images appear, and I sense that they have a life, the painting is complete. Butterflies, originally titled Las Mariposas de Diego, the butterflies of Diego, is a painting that holds a deep personal meaning for me, as it represents a strange encounter I experienced in my youth. Like much of my work, it took several years to complete, and over time I lost track of the exact dates. It describes the process as much emotional as it is formal. Painting is a marvelous tool that allows for achievement totally impossible in real life. A Syrian man, I mentioned that the paper was unprepared because I chose not to apply a coat of gesso or oil primer to the surface at the beginning. Instead, I wanted to experiment with some very bright printer inks left behind after the printer stopped working. The vibrancy of these inks is extraordinary, although I am unsure about their permanence or whether they will fade over time. The spreading stains produced by the ink became the starting point of the painting's imagery. The ink seemed to cover the paper effectively, and I trust it will act as a barrier between the oil and the paper. As for the symbolism of the Christian cross, the decapitated figure, and the Assyrian man with an erection, I do not claim to know the specific meaning. I prefer not to impose any particular narrative on these elements, leaving interpretation up to the viewer. Assyria was a significant ancient Mesopotamian civilization emerging as a city-state around the 21st century BC and growing into a powerful empire by the 14th century BC, lasting until the 7th century BC. The art from this era has always fascinated me. The British Museum in London houses a remarkable collection, and I often find myself drawn to certain figurines, vessels, or images. These either serve as direct references for my work or emerge organically, embedding themselves into the canvas during the creative process. The red medusa, originally titled Rojos Demoníacos, hellish reds. It's, well, the title is self-explanatory, really. It doesn't really need much more.